everybody. It's that time again. It's time for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, and it's episode number 62. My name is Deborah, and I'm coming to you from here on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, where I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I make baskets, I make jewelry. I'll try any craft once and twice if I like it. I'm also a university professor of physics and astronomy at a local four-year university where I teach courses to both physics majors and general education majors. And I am a docent in our planetarium and very active in science literacy and in women in STEM activities. And last but not least, I'm a farmer. I'm a third-generation family farmer here where I raise grass-fed beef cattle, I raise horses, I have a flock of heritage poultry, I have rabbits, I have a retirement herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost, and Princess Penny, the potbelly pig, protector of the poultry. And as you can tell from my sweet little co-host and occasional cameo appearances by my cats, I am a fur kid mom to 13 dogs, 8 indoor cats, and an undetermined number of outside barn cats. And I am in my kitchen today because I am running my canner and I need to be in here where I can keep an eye on it. So if any or all of that sounds interesting to you, Simon had to come through and say hello. Stick around and there'll be more animals, I'm sure, and more fun here on Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. Okay, if you're looking for us on social media, my farm Facebook page is the same as my YouTube channel name. It's Buckhorn Farms. And I post pictures and farm-related articles and things like that. Also, there is a Ravelry group for the podcast Diary of a Physicist Farmgal where you can find out about our make-alongs and our giveaways, and we'll talk more about those in just a second. I am also on Instagram and on Ravelry as Doc Firewoman, and I post lots of farm pictures on Instagram, things like that. And last but not least, I am also on Twitter as Doc Firewoman. But I am a fairly socially liberal Democrat, and Twitter is where I vent my political points of view. And so if that kind of stuff gives you indigestion, you might not want to follow me on Twitter. But other places, I sort of keep that stuff to a dull roar, although lately I haven't been doing such a good job, I guess maybe. I don't know why, but anyway. Anyhow, so if you want to follow us on any of those, you can. Our social media, our Ravelry group is a place where you can find out about our different make-alongs and our giveaways. And right now, we have several make-alongs currently running. We have Creature Feature, which is going to be it's in its second quarter, which is Make What Makes You Happy during this quarantine social distancing time. We have the String Along, which is for things made from string, doilies, anything that uses flosses, string, weight stuff like that. We have the Practical Magic Mal, which is for home items or items that are non-apparel items. So blankets, coasters, tea cozies, that kind of stuff. We also have the How Do You Eat an Elephant One Bite at a Time, and I have some progress to show you on my elephant. And we have the Science Sprinkles one, which I have not put a post up yet. I kind of lost my motivation about doing that, and I apologize for that. I need to probably put a post up. I know there were some people that were interested in reading them. I just kind of lost my motivation, so I need to get a little bit better about that. And then we also have the Bust a Move Stash Down, where we're aiming to use up things from stash. And Kit or Get Her Done. Kit or Get Her Done is using up those kits that that I love so much. So we do have a giveaway going on right now. I opened a thread where we are doing the Blizzard in July crochet along with the Knick Knack Knits podcast starting July 1st through July 31st, where we're going to crochet snowflakes. And so to that end, I'm giving away a copy of the Snowfall crochet along from last year by Jessica Woofall. It's the one that I did the snowflakes for, and you saw those if you followed me for a little while. You've seen my snowflakes. So you can go back and hunt those up and join that if you would like with us. You can enter with the writing prompt, and I'll be giving a copy of that away on July 1 so that you can join in on the Snowfall or the Blizzard in July crochet along. So that's all of our social media news. So now we're going to move on and talk about finished objects. So my finished objects this week are not yarny or cross-stitching related though, and there's only 2 of them, but they're pretty cool. So okay, so my finished objects this week are a little bit different than what you might expect to see, but if you followed me for a while, you've seen me make these things before. I made soap. I made some soap. I've been working on a lot of different projects. I've done a lot of canning and a lot of preserving, and I have made some progress on some yarny things, but they were big. So I've got those to show you and work some progress. But I only finished these 2 bars of soap. This is a coffee vanilla bar. It's got coffee grounds in the base of it. Okay, you mix it in with the base. And then this is a lavender bar. It's got lemon and honey also in it. It's got lemon zest and lavender flowers and honey in it. So I think I got about 9 bars total out of both of these. This is a melt and pour soap base, so it's very easy to use. I just put it in my regular silicone square molds. I haven't started making any more fancy molded soaps. But my food grade lye did arrive finally in the mail. So I'm going to I'm going to start making some more lye soap, lye-based soap. Probably, I think my oils that I've been infusing will be ready about the middle of June. So that's when I'm probably going to start making some more soaps. I've been doing a lot of drying of herbs and wildflowers and things like that, and infusing oils. So yeah, so those are my only 2 finished objects this week, but I have several works in progress to show you that are pretty significant. So we're going to move on now and do that. Okay, so for works in progress, I'm just going to kind of show you them with how easy they are to reach and get. So the first thing that I'll show you is a pretty significant progress on my elephant. My elephant is my marine life blanket, and I had all the strips last time I talked with you. I had all the strips made, so I have started joining the strips. So I am just using that same stitch that I used to join the blocks, and you can see, let me see how the best way to do this is. Maybe I've got 2 strips joined and I'm working on a 3rd one. So you can kind of see there. Can you see that? And then I've just started joining this 3rd one here. So it is heavy and hot work. I know Miss Shirley was talking about how hot working on her owl blanket was, but I am making definite progress. So I've got the 3rd strip, so then that means there'll be 2 more after this one, and then the top will be complete, and I will wash it. And then I'm going to look for a blanket. I'm going to measure it and look for a fleece blanket to put on the back of it instead of trying to buy fleece fabric, which I would have to seam up. So let me put that aside there. Then my next work in progress is my animal almanac. And I noticed I made a mistake on this last night, so I've started picking a little bit out to fix it, but I've picked back to where the mistake is. This month is Harold the Hippo. So I think you saw Posy the bunny that I had finished here. And then this is Harold the Hippo, and he's grilling outside, and there's a little jungle gym, play gym thing over here with his little kid on it. So I've got to finish Harold the Hippo. But I made a mistake, and I noticed it when I started putting the eyes in. I didn't make these rows as wide as I should have, so I picked back, and I've got to correct that. But I'm running a little late on getting Harold done because I've been working on other stuff, but I feel confident that Harold will get done in a timely fashion now that I'm started on him. So, and that is in my April 9 Designs Christmas in the Woods bag there. So we'll put that away. That's my main cross-stitching project for right now. Put that up. Okay. Oh, excuse me, my owl fell off here. I gotta reach down and get it. She puts a little charm on the zipper pulls on the bags, and I heard something hit the floor, and it was the owl off my zipper pull. So let me reach down and get it. Okay. Alrighty, so my next work in progress is I put some rows on my socks. I put some rows on my, these are the Vagary socks by the Knitting Expat. And I am knitting them in String Theory Colorworks yarn W49B. And I put the little marker was where I last showed to. So I picked these up and worked on them one evening. So I have put a little bit of progress on those. I am past the heel turn now. I've marked for my heel turn. I'm going to learn to do afterthought heels on these. And so I've put this many rows on my socks. So I'll get those complete soon, I hope. And I'll put those in Vanessa's stripy mal there. And try and learn to do that afterthought heel. So I got that done. Then I am making really good progress. The other night I sat down and picked up my dragon by Crafty Intentions. I'm making the water dragon. She has a set of 4 dragons that represent the 4 different elements. And I'll try to show his picture here. This is the water dragon. I now have all the parts made, except I'm doing the accent on the wings, which is where you introduce the wire. So I've got all the parts made. He doesn't look like much yet because he's in pieces. So I've got the body, and I'll show you his little head here with the Suncatcher craft eyes that I just love these eyes. So there's his head with his little eyes. And then I've got all his little fins and tail accoutrements and everything stuck down in here. And here is one of the wings. Let me show you the one that I've already started working on the accent pieces on. So this is the wing, okay? And what you do is you crochet a spine along where these points are. I don't know how well you can see that. And then the top one is where you crochet over the wire. So I have the wire now, and I'm ready to sit down and crochet over the wire. And then I'll do the same thing to this wing, and then I'll be ready to sew him all together because all of the parts are made. So I am very excited to get him put together. So you make his body. Now I do have to put a piece of wire in his tail here to make him stand up, and then you kind of sew the legs in the position that you want them. And I probably need to wash this before I sew that head on with those Suncatcher craft eyes in it. But anyway, so I got all that done. So I sat down one evening. I realized how close I was. So I sat down and I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to put him together. So that was very exciting. So let me put those away. Sit down and get that finished up. All right. Then the last 2 things I'll show are stitching projects. The first one is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's Chinese Zodiac Stitch Along, and it is in 8 parts each, and it's doing the 12 animals of the Chinese Zodiac. It is in my bag, again a bag by April 9 Designs, and I ordered the kit, so I've got all the flosses and everything. So here is how far I am on that. So I've got, this is the first clue complete. So I've got the center motif done and then the 3 little animals. So now the second clue is you go back and you fill in all the design work and you do the corner piece. And then I bet the next one will be some more animals is how they're going to work it. So I got that done. No, Fizz, you can't come up here. We're going to see a lot more animals today because being in the kitchen, they think they all have the right to just walk across the screen whenever they think. But I'm trying to keep an eye on that canner to make sure it doesn't explode. We wouldn't want that. So how about you get down? Get down, there you go. All right, the last thing I'll show is I got myself a magnifying light. It's a Bright Tech light, and it's the ring light with the magnifier made into the ring light. And I use it along with my aunt light to work on this next project. This next project is the Halloween Sampler by Jeanette Douglas. All right, and I think it came out in 2017 was when that pattern was published, and I am doing this on linen. I'm doing this on 35 count linen, and it was not happening without this magnifier. The magnifier is a game changer. I got the 2.5 times magnification magnifier, and it is a game changer on this linen. I'll just tell you straight up. It was worth, I think it was like $32 including shipping, and it was worth every penny. So I just got started. This is, oops, well, I'll just take it out of the hoop where you can see a little bit better. All right, so I've just gotten started. I did the wording is done in a variegated floss. The two little embellishments are in a sparkling floss, and then that same variegated floss is used there for that side detail. And then I've just started on the tombstone, and there's a new stitch I've got to learn to do in that tombstone. So I made a little bit of progress on that. That was a couple of nights, or I think one night work. So it really goes quickly now that you can see what you're doing. It's a huge game changer. All right, so those are all my current works in progress. So we will come back and talk about a little bit of future crafting. Don't have a lot to talk about because I'm really trying to focus on getting some stuff finished and keeping up with these stitch-alongs. So, oh no, I'm lying. I have a big work in progress to show y'all. Hang on just one second. It was sitting over there and I almost forgot. I can't believe I almost forgot that. Excuse me, let me reach and get it. This is in my April 9 Designs bag also. I have completed one end of my Changes shawl. Yay! This is the Changes shawl by the Knitting Expat. It looks kind of like that when it's finished. So you start with that center panel and then you work one end and then you work the other. And I have completely finished one end. Of course, I haven't woven any of my ends in yet, but you can get a sense of how it looks here. Okay, so there you go. So one end is completely done. The last time you guys saw it, I was still working in the C section. So, or no, I had just started the D section. So I have completed the D section and bound off. So I am completely done with one end of the shawl now. Woohoo! I am really loving this. So I need to pick up stitches on this side and work this end, and I'll probably do that tonight, but I wanted to wait to do that until after I had recorded so that I didn't have needles in it and it was easier to show to you guys. So yay, yay, yay. I am so proud to have that end of that shawl done. Yes. So now we'll move on and talk about future crafting. Okay, so I'm just going to show a couple of future crafting, and one I kind of started just a little bit on already. I've had this Mill Hill kit since the early 2000s. It's a little Halloween scene, and it's beaded. And it's got a little, you can tell the little black cat is a button. So I've already kitted it up and I'm ready to go. And it's on perforated paper. So this is as far as I've gotten. I just started doing a little bit of the outline. So I'm still counting it as a future crafting. But it's on perforated paper and then you can finish it. And that's one thing that I've enjoyed, following different tags on Instagram to see how people finish their cross stitches differently. Some of them are so creative, and I've got to get smarter and I've got to get going on finishing some stuff. We're off from the barn next week to have kind of a week off before we start our summer writing program. And I think next week is going to be the major clean out the craft room and set up the sewing machine week. The other thing is I ordered a kit from Around the Table Yarns to do the Masalo shawl, or the Masalo shawl by Louis Boria. I think Brooklyn Boy Knits is his Instagram handle. Kim got me interested in this shawl and showed me this kit, and I think it looks like sunset. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like a sunset. So it is, this is a DK weight shawl, and it looks like a fairly easy, fun knit, very potato chippy, as they say, looking. It's available on Ravelry right now, and I know that she's kind of running a little fun knit along for it. I just haven't, I want to get that Changes shawl done, so I haven't really focused on anything else. So that's all I'm going to show in future crafting this week. So I don't really have much to show in terms of acquisitions. I've been kind of just staying on the down low for buying stuff right now because I've been busy doing things out here on the farm. So we're actually going to skip acquisitions this week and move on and talk about science. Well, the science segment this week is going to be kind of short because I haven't been on campus. Right now, the plan for us is to go back to normal operation on August 21st, although there is some doubt whether that will happen or not. I have really been trying very hard not to let social media overwhelm me. With all of the information that people are getting to the point now where they're just sharing anything they think about this virus, whether it's factual or not. And to my friend Tim's credit, he sent me a thing today and he said, "What do you think about this?" And I looked at it and I read it and I sent him links. I said, "These are the scientific sites that refute all of these claims." And I said, science in and of itself has no political agenda. Science only seeks to answer questions. And unfortunately, it's been politicized by both sides of the political spectrum. And I said, but here are the facts, and you can decide what you will about that. So, but it's been extremely exhausting for me to deal with a lot of people spew at me, bringing it to my table, bringing this disinformation. To his credit, he just asked me what I thought. He didn't try to shove something in my face and say, you need to think about this, or you should consider this, or you need to listen to me. I can teach you something. And I'm like, So, Willie, you just going to be right up in the camera here, bud? Anyway, that's been really tiring. But I do have some good news. I have lots of good news to share about my students. My student Grace is doing her internship with NASA. They're still going to let her do it, so that's exciting. Also, I had nominated both Grace and John Single, who is one of my older students who has come back. He is a pilot. He's a commercial pilot, but he decided that he wanted to get his bachelor's degree and work on his PhD after he retired. So he is working steadily toward his bachelor's degree, and he's a very dedicated and fun student and very interested in science. I had nominated both of them for Service Learning Awards, and they both won a Service Learning Award. So I'm very excited about that. I got my recognition of achievement in my diversity and inclusion education track. So I got that done. And I guess the biggie, which is not technically official yet because it hasn't come out on the official UCA announcement, but I asked if I could say something about it, is I was very honored to receive the Service Learning Faculty of the Year Award. So yay. I was very honored about that. We are going to have to really change the way we're doing service learning in the fall because they want to continue doing social distancing because especially a lot of the populations that we serve are in high risk groups. So we're going to have to think about maybe doing like a TV show, like a science TV show or something. But so that's basically what's been going on. I've just been teaching online and we're finishing up our intercession class this week. And then I have a 5-week summer class that I've got to get up and rolling this weekend. And then I'll be done for the summer with that. So that's kind of what's going on in the science world right now. Not a whole lot, but I did see an article, and I think that this is an article that's been around for a while. It came out actually last year, but someone reshared it, and I thought it was really interesting. And it's an interesting study in how evolution works. This one is from the Live Science website, and it's about a bird that evolved into existence twice thanks to evolution, thousands of years apart. So the bird is a flightless bird that is a form of white-throated rail that were from Madagascar. And they flew over to the Aldabra Atoll, which is in the Seychelles. And because they didn't have any natural predators on the reef, eventually they lost the ability to fly. They didn't need it. It was a superfluous ability. They didn't need to be able to fly to escape from a predator. So they lost their ability to fly. But then, and this was several 100,000 years ago that this happened, and then there was a catastrophic event about 136,000 years ago when there was a huge flood and it swamped the atoll, and the atoll was underwater. It was underwater for a period of time. About 100,000 years later, during an ice age, the sea retracted and the atoll once again was above water. And then something happened again. The birds flew over from Madagascar. The original species flew over from Madagascar, and the birds landed on the atoll. And again, over the course of time, they evolved away their ability to fly. So I just thought that was really cool, you know, to think about something like that happening. It's called iterative evolution, where it happens more than once, I guess. And these are called the Aldabra rails. So they're a type of flightless bird that exists on this atoll now. So I thought it was really cool to see. And the other thing that has happened is you see their bone size has changed too, because they don't need the stronger bones to support the flight system. So anyway, they compared the fossilized bones of the ones before the flood to the current bones, and they're very, very similar. So that's a strong indication that these birds have evolved twice. So I thought that was really cool. I'll link to the article in Live Science for you so you can look at that. And yeah, so yay for science. I love how nature finds a way. I love that. I love that idea. So anyway, we're going to move on now and talk about farm life. Simon has supplanted Willie. Oh, me. Okay, so in farm life, Simon, you're going to have to get down, because you don't understand personal space there. All right, so in farm life, there's been a lot going on in farm life because I've been working a lot out here on my place doing various things. So let's see, where to begin? Horses. We'll start with horses. So we are currently working through a contest called the Triple Crown. So we had 3 events, or having 3 events. The third one is actually day after tomorrow. We first started out with an in-hand obstacle course where it was a timed event. It was called Gambler's Choice. So you had to choose. There were 10 obstacles and you had 10 minutes, and they were pointed differently. And if you didn't think your horse would do all of them, what you had to do was figure out how to maximize your points. Or if you knew your horse would do them all, you had to figure out the best order to go in to do them the fastest. Because if there was a tie, the timing was going to break the tie. So we had that one Saturday. Then the next week, we had a jumping contest. And Marianne was gracious enough to let me ride a couple of her horses, which had been needing ridden, and I was able to jump with them, which was great, because I don't really want Flame jumping. I don't want to confuse her because a lot of times we'll work over what are called cavalettis, which are low ground poles where she's supposed to stretch and reach across them. And I don't want to confuse her. So I didn't want to jump her, but I've been working with her on dressage, and that's what we're doing this week. I actually videoed 2 of my tests, and that's, if you pay attention to my channel, that's what you saw, was those 2 videos that went up of me riding were videos of my entries in the virtual horse show for this month. So we got that done. We are going to have our dressage contest Saturday, and then we have a week off, and then we go into our summer riding program, and we talked a little bit about what we're going to do about that to be able to maintain healthy social distancing, and how we're going to split the groups up and so on. So I'm excited. Flame and I are finally starting to really come together, especially on our canter, which has been a big deal today, or yesterday I rode her and we cantered pretty effortlessly. So I was very proud about that. And Simon, nobody wants to see that part of you. Shirley is not here. So, but anyway, so we did that. And then my friend Tim came up. I had mentioned, I think last time I recorded, that we had gone down in the woods and found the hole in the fence. Well, the cow finally brought her calf in, and I know it's the right one because it's the only black one I've got over there. He's a little black with mottle face. He's got black marks on his face. He's got a white face with black mottling on it. So what I'm waiting for now is just to get them all in. I've got feed in the back of my truck, and I'm going to try to call them all in, and we put a panel up so that I could just shut it like a gate. And it is definitely where they're crossing, because as the vegetation has grown up, their path has become very clear. So we found where they were crossing over, and we're going to get that fixed. I've put a new tarp on top of my chicken pen. We were supposed to have this deluge of rain this week. Now, the way the storm system worked, it was almost like a hurricane with the rain bands, and it was like where I live was being straddled by two rain bands, because both east and west of me has gotten significantly more rain than I've still gotten like 1.5 inches in the last 4 days or 3 days, but we were supposed to get like 3.5 inches, which I'm kind of glad we didn't, because we are very saturated here right now. The garden is doing well. I have uncovered all of the plants. I'm going to have to stay vigilant about pests on my squash and on my eggplant, because I always struggle with both squash bugs and with flea beetles on my eggplant. Right now, my eggplant has got a bunch of baby ladybugs on it, so I take that as a good sign. And I'm currently hatching, or trying to hatch, a praying mantis egg case. I found one. One of my friends was asking about beneficial insects, and I said, well, I've got a praying mantis egg case, and then they decided they didn't want to come get it. So I've got it in a little habitat over there, and we'll see if we can hatch out some praying mantises for the garden. But everything is coming up so far. Looks good. I've really been enjoying the raised beds for ease of weeding. And you know, so far so good. People were asking me what all I had planted, and I've planted a nice diversity of things. I think it'll be fun to see how all the stuff does. And also I've planted for preservation in mind too. You know, everybody's like, why are you planting so much? And I'm like, well, y'all forget I can. You know, I do a lot of canning and freezing, and I've already been doing all that, you know, this year so far with what was available. So that's been good. The canning and drying and freezing, as I mentioned, has been ramping up. I made elderflower cordial, which is, you can put alcohol in it. I just made it with a sugar syrup, and you can use it to flavor drinks, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic teas. It's like a sugar syrup. It's got lemon. I use lemons and elderflowers in it, so it's got a nice spring bright flavoring to it. I made about a gallon of that, so I've got it split up into smaller containers so that I don't have to open it all at once. But it is shelf stable, and I've got it stored in mason jars with the reusable lids. So I also was lucky enough, my neighbors came on to a windfall of both onions, big Vidalia onions, and bananas. And they called me up and said, would you like to have these? So I got about 30 really nice size Vidalia onions, and I sliced them up and chopped them up and put them in freezer bags to set aside for when it's time to make salsa. So now I don't have to buy any onions. I'll have them already. And then the bananas, part of them I froze just in their peels to make banana bread, but part of them I made banana jam. And yes, you can make banana jam. In fact, let me go grab a jar and I'll show you. Okay, so I just grabbed a few of the things that I've been making. So far this year, I've put up strawberries. I made two different types of strawberry preserves. I did a strawberry jam and a true strawberry preserve. I've done elderflower cordial. I've done honeysuckle and violet and clover jelly. And here what I've got is a selection of the things I've been working on right now. So first of all, here is the banana jam. And I flavored it to have a spiced rum profile, so it tastes kind of like a banana daiquiri. So it's a nice consistency for spreading on toast or something like that. Then I had some grapes left over that I was worried I wouldn't eat up, so I made grape jelly. So this is red grape jelly. All right, here. And I was thinning my carrots the other day, or my first round of carrots. I've actually planted a couple of waves since then, but I was thinning the first round of carrots, and the tops on them were just beautiful and green, and I thought, well, it seems a shame not to use these. And so I took my carrot tops and my trimmings off of my broccoli and my lettuce leaves and my kale leaves and some onions, and I took some beef bones that I had, some soup bones, because when I have a beef processed, I always say I want as much of this animal to be used as possible, so they save me the bones for beef broth. And I made what I'm calling my super greens beef broth, where you got the little debris of the different the beef bones and then the greens. And so I cooked the greens and the beef bones down and made bone broth. So I've got about 5 quarts of this. This was pressure canned. These other 2 were water bathed. Then last but not least, I've been making mustard the last couple of nights. You can make your own homemade mustard. You can either use mustard powder, or I prefer to use the mustard seeds because I like grainy mustard. So this particular one is a balsamic vinegar profile of flavor, and it's got yellow, brown, and black seeds. And mustard is one of the easier things that you can learn to make, and it keeps on the shelf for a long time because of the vinegar content. Right now, over there, I've got soaking, and I will work up tonight another profile. It's got balsamic and malt vinegar in it. And it is going to, I'm going to put horseradish in it, so it will be nice and spicy. So you can see there's the grainy mustard of that. And I water bath sealed this also. So those are some of the things that I've been working on. In fact, a friend just messaged me a few minutes ago because I was thinking, okay, let's say I do well with these winter squashes and with my potatoes and stuff. How do I store them? I don't have a root cellar. That's one thing that I don't have yet, and eventually I would like to have one. But you can, I've been reading up on how to store your squashes and your potatoes and your sweet potatoes and your apples and things like that, even if you don't have a root cellar for storage. And, hi, Cammie. Was watching one of the, was Wartime Farm or Edwardian Farm. I think it was Edwardian Farm where they were talking about, or Victorian Farm where they were talking about the pantry where she was using the quicklime to keep the pantry dry. I have got a spare room that I use for, I call it my alternate craft room, where I store like my basket making stuff and my big wreath making stuff. And then I store my baskets for when I do gift baskets. And then all my canning stuff goes in there when I'm not using it. I've got room in there to put up something. And I was trying to figure out, well, maybe I need to buy some shelves. Well, literally just a few minutes ago, my friend Robin messaged me, and there was somebody giving on one of those free cycle websites giving away what looks like racks that you would transport bread in, and they're all ventilated because you got to keep the air circulation around the bread. And she said, do you want any of these? And I'm like, yes, those will be perfect. So she picked up some for me, and I'm going to go pick them up next week, and that will be a perfect solution. I was reading up about how you cure your potatoes, or you cure your squashes or your apples, and then you pack them in boxes, or you stack them on these shelves, and you wrap them, you put paper around them so they don't touch, like newspaper. They don't touch that way, and they allow air circulation. So I've got plenty of newspapers that I've been saving up, and Miss Betsy's been saving, and now I've got these racks, so I'm set for that. One thing that I've really enjoyed about working on my place this time around, you know, trying to make lemonade out of your lemons of the social distancing, is I've been able to use up or put to use so many things that I feel like normally would have been thrown away or would have been just set aside in the trash. As I call it, my pile of junk that I'm not using, but might someday be useful pile. It's gotten significantly smaller lately because I've been using it up. You know, the netting has gone around the raised beds. I've used up that pile of cedar for the raised beds. You know, I've tried to use as much of reused stuff as possible. I tried to buy as little as possible whenever I can. And then, you know, like if I buy food, you know, whether it's produce or whatever, I try to make sure, like, can I use this peel? Can I dry this peel and use it on my vegetable garden or on my roses or whatever? I'm really trying to make sure that I get the most out of my stuff. Even like glass jars, because I'm a notorious hoarder of glass jars. I've been using all of those to do infuse my herbs in, and I'm making herbal vinegars and stuff like that. So those glass jars have even come in handy lately, so that's been nice. I posted a little post on Instagram, kind of a garden update, but I put together a little video of kind of the walkthrough of my garden from, I think it was the beginning of this week. So to kind of show you where we're at. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do one of those every time I podcast, so you could kind of see how things are coming along. And also, too, when we were walking down in the woods to fix the fence, we were coming back out of the woods and we were just kind of looking around. And, I told you the story about the maple tree. Well, this time we had another amazing discovery. This discovery was we found a grapevine, and not a muscadine, but a domestic grapevine that had gone feral from an old house place, and it is growing all up through this huge cedar tree. So I've been reading up on how to propagate grapevines from cuttings. And if I can get to a piece and take a cutting from it, I'm going to try to see if I can get it to root. Because it's sure enough grapes. It's not muscadines. Because muscadines don't cluster in the more pendulous clusters like grapes do. They cluster more like cherries or something like that. They don't make the long dangling clusters like grapes do. This was clusters. These were for sure clusters. Then also, too, we found some, depending on who you read up, they call them Chickasaw plums or Cherokee plums. And then I found some paper mulberry trees and a maple tree. I found a baby maple tree. So I bought myself some flagging tape, and I'm going to go over and try to mark those. And then this fall, I'm going to try to dig them up and move them and add them to my collection over here. I think they'll be better off moving them in the fall than trying to move them right now. When they're dormant, when they're going dormant, I think it'll be a safer time for me to move them. So, let's see. Oh, got baby chick. Got at least one. I had a broody hen, and I went out there this morning because last night I got a little nervous. Normally I have porch possums that eat the cat food with the cats on the porch. Well, I went out last night about 10 o'clock in a desperate search to see if I had a bottle of Diet Coke in my truck, which I didn't. There was a coon on the porch eating with the cats. And I'm like, okay. So I ran around very quickly and kind of double checked on everybody. I have a broody hen that's been sitting in this old open fronted coop that I had. So I found a piece of wire and constructed a door very quickly and closed her in there so that raccoon couldn't get to her. And this morning when I went out there, I was greeted with a baby chick sticking its little head out from underneath her. So she has sat there long enough that she's hatched some eggs. That was really a sweet surprise to find. So I was excited about that. I've got my older donkey Sally up in my, my older donkey Sally is up in the front with the ponies because her feet are bothering her, and I've been working on trimming those feet where she tore that foot up a couple of years ago. And I've been letting her come out in the yard while I'm out there. I've got a this is some farm her ingenuity. I've got a big tractor tire that's off the back of my tractor. And I never could bring myself to throw it away because they're just so darn useful for so many things. So I just tie her to that, and I don't leave her. I stay out there with her. So if she were to get tangled up, I would know immediately and could untangle her. But she's pretty smart. She doesn't get herself tangled up too much. But I tie her and let her graze around that area. So that's been fun to sit out there in the evenings with her. So yeah, it's been lots of farming stuff going on and lots of farm her ingenuity, going on and everything. So that's been farm life. So I guess now we'll move on and talk about a few final thoughts. Okay, so my final thoughts today focus on me trying to maintain myself, trying to maintain some positivity in the face of things going on in this world that are extremely concerning and extremely worrying. One of the things that I do is I enjoy watching just ridiculously silly videos. And for example, last night, someone posted what they heard in the lyrics of Carmina Burana. And there was a line, and I'll never not be able to hear this when I hear that from now on. This octopus, let's give him boots. I'll never be able to listen to Carmina Burana without hearing this octopus, let's give him boots. So those are the kinds of things that keep my spirits buoyed. And, today there's a lot of stuff going around on social media about different things that are happening, and with, trying to control media and things like that. And I am alarmed and afraid, but I'm trying to just hope that goodness will win. So I was thinking about a particular quote, and I came across an article revolving around this quote. So I'm going to read the piece. It's a very short little article. I'm going to read the article first, and then I'm going to read you the quote. This is where I'm trying to study myself and focus myself on to keep myself as a useful, helpful person during this time and to keep myself balanced. So this article came out in medium.com. Okay, this article is from Michael Shook, and it was actually written back in 2018, but I think that it's appropriate for today. So let me read that first. Love is our natural emotion, our natural state of being. It is the way we come into the world. Love is not foreign to our hearts. Sometimes, though, when we look into the face of the unrelenting tidal wave of anger, vitriol, and hate, we have to wonder how all these folks got so upset. Surely there are as many individual triggers to cause the darkness to flare up as there are people whose hearts are sad. For me, the more folks I talk with and listen to, the more it seems that each person has a shard of jagged glass representing their own pain that they keep in a secret part of their hearts. Sometimes, though, they take out this private pain, polish it up, and show it around to others. Maybe to show everyone that they, too, have a sadness or an anger or frustration. A point of sorrow, which they might view as their ticket into the world as a whole. Maybe it's their way of saying, I belong here, too, in this world of darkness. The good news is life doesn't have to stay that way. We can all change, we can all heal, we can all grow. More importantly, we can each of us uncover the reality of love with which we entered the world. We can share the idea with others instead of our secret sharp pain. Are there difficult things to talk about sometimes? Sure. Broken things to be mended? Yes. Are these accomplished more easily from a viewpoint of love rather than anger or hate? Absolutely. It is much easier to fix anything that's broken when we begin with a positive perspective. And the quote that inspired that is one that I'm sure you've heard by L.R. Nost. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. Right, Willie? So on that note, I'm going to leave you. I hope you are all doing well during this time. I hope that if you need someone to talk to, you have someone, or that you can reach out to someone or come join us in our Zoom group. Or message me. I hope that you are finding pleasure in your crafting and pleasure in learning. And until I see y'all again, y'all be good to each other and take care of each other. And our canner's almost done, ain't it? And it didn't blow up. And the octopus, we'll give him boots. Right? All right. Y'all take care soon. Peace out, y'all. Bye.